When I first got called to be a pastor, everybody would have thought I was already knew that's what I was going to be. But I had no idea that's what I was going to be. That whole time, never would have I told you I was going to be a pastor. I mean, I really enjoyed ministry, but I still wanted to go be a teacher. And so I'd signed up to go student teach, and 3 schools in a row said yes, and then called me back and said no. Yes, you can student teach, and then something changed, we're not going to be able to take you. Wrestling, like, God, what do you want me to do in life? Where am I supposed to be? I found a place to go student teach. I was lucky enough to go student teach in Axtell, and so I went there. It was just an incredible experience. Went through all my student teaching, and it was like, okay, now what are you going to do? You're going to get a job. And so I went to a job fair at UNK, and they had all these schools lined up that had math openings, high school math. That's what I was going to teach. And so they had all these math openings, and I would be standing in a line, and I would be sick to my stomach. There was no peace. I'd be like 15 deep in this line to do this pre-interview, just to answer a few questions. And I couldn't even stay in the line. And I would get out of that line and get into another line. And I'm in another line, and I'm experiencing the same thing again, like just sick to my stomach. This isn't working. And there was no peace. And I got in a third line, same thing, no peace. I got in a fourth line, and I had peace. I didn't even know what line I was in. I just was moving to the math openings. And this school was called Platte Valley Christian Academy. And I'm thinking, why am I in the line of a Christian school? I want to go teach in a public school, but I had peace there. And I knew that they were going to offer me the job. And I knew it was what God wanted me to do, but I didn't want to do it. I knew I needed to find a church in North Platte. And so I looked up a few different churches that I thought might be similar to our church. And I went to a church parking lot, and I was there in no peace. That same thing that I had standing in line at UNK of what kind of job, school I was going to pre-interview for. No peace. So I went to another church parking lot. No peace. Went to a third church parking lot. No kidding you. No peace. I went back home. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I opened up a phone book, and there was a church. It was a Foursquare church. I didn't even know what a Foursquare church was. I knew we had one in town and in Kearney here, but I didn't know what it was. And I called him, and the pastor answered the phone and asked if they started church yet. And they said, nope, we start in 15 minutes. And so I drove over there. I got there, and peace was there. So I'd been teaching at Amherst for 2.5 years. Everything was going fine. We had Christmas break. I went back the first day after Christmas break, sat down at my desk, 7:30 in the morning, and the peace of God was gone. I'm at a stoplight on 2nd Avenue and 11th Street. I know right where I was at. My wife turned and looked at me, and she said, are you supposed to go work at the church full time? And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, God's been talking to me about it, and I want you to know I'm okay with it. She was a pastor's daughter who never wanted to be a pastor's wife. Probably had an inner vow, I'll never be a pastor's wife. I felt something come over me. I closed that book, and I knew I was called to be a pastor.
You fulfill my every need. You direct my steps for me. I hold fast to the word, satisfied by your relentless love.